Can I have a couple of these chairs here? Dee, can you help me with that? I see there's a lot of different burning questions, something that you want to ask me, something that you want to ask Karen, something you want to ask James. Okay, who would like to go first? Gaurav.
Hello everyone, Gaurav from Skills Australia. I just wanted to ask for Smith family one question about the kids.
Yep, certainly.
So I just wanted to know, like I saw your slides and that like 55% of your funding goes to the primary school students.
That's right.
Just was curious, we still have here in Australia like public schools where kids can go for without paying. So I just wanted to understand like what sort of support Smith family gives to those kids.
Sorry, so it's going to primary school, and you're asking.
So it's saying like in public schools.
Let me rephrase. This has been a question for me as well when I was trying to go for the initiating the ongoing contributions. $55 a month that I've mentioned, that's also the website, sponsoring education for a child, which comes to about, give or take 600, how much dollars?
That's right.
$650, $660 a year. How does that money contribute towards a child's education throughout the year, and what sort of supports you provide? Am I? Yeah.
Certainly. Well, the $55 that goes towards sponsoring a child, that's actually half sponsorship for a child. So what we have two levels of sponsorship. There's the $55 and about $113 off the top of my head. And why it's set at that level at the 55, because it's easier for people to come up with around that kind of dollar figure than it is to make a commitment of the $100. But of course you can have your own child, for want of a better term, to do that sort of thing. All money that goes to sponsorship of the child actually goes to that child. So no admin costs come out of that at all. Sponsorship dollars, 100% of that goes to that child. Now I did have a slide up there before that talked about where the different monies go through. If I quickly see if I can flick through it here, but it goes into a combination of money towards the uniforms, school essentials, excursions. It also goes towards the counsellor to help them with educational catch-up, and programs to help the family as it goes through. So that money goes to those children in that way. Now, the other thing I didn't mention before, it is a contract that we actually have the parents get involved in. So it is something that they have to do and says that yes, we will follow the children's education. Those children have to actually attend school, so there has to be an 80% plus attendance rate at school. So you can't just take the money and run. The parents have to agree when asked to provide the children's education reports to help and assist going through. It's not a big brother watching, but it's to assist in going through. Where can we help your child? What other programs could be needed from there? And it's also not you must give us receipts for everything. Because you've signed a contract, the money's given to you for you to spend as seen as wisely. If there are doubts, then of course we can ask for those sort of receipts. Does that tend to answer your question, or would you like something else further? Certainly, mate.
Because I've had so many experiences in my life. About 20 years ago, I did some volunteering for the Smith family. It was mostly reading letters and stuff like that, but the reason I did it is I went to an extremely low, so I come from a really low socioeconomic area in North Queensland. A lot of the kids that we at the school, the Smith family was a big support for them. And a lot of that I saw as another student was very much around uniforms. A lot of the kids pre-Smith family were kind of picking up uniforms from Best and West. They didn't have branding on them. and the social stigma around that for the child was quite debilitating to their education. And the Smith family supporting these kids led to them having uniforms, a lot of, like the cost of books and stuff like that. Like, any parent knows there's a lot of money in setting up a kid for school each year, even if you're at a public school, and that cost towards having the right books, having the right pens and pencils. It's not so much the financial, but it's also that social stigma that the child feels from not having it. So one of the reasons I went and volunteered for them many years later, and it was just reading letters from the sponsors to the child to make sure that there was no inappropriate dealings going back and forwards. What I saw is it really lowers the social stigma for that child and allows that child to interact with education that they are getting, but they're not being able to interact with it 100%. So yeah.
Thanks, James. James makes a really good point. We have one of our people who works for the Smith family who was sponsored by the Smith family, and he tells the story of that, sure, he had a uniform, but the shade of blue of his shorts were different to everyone else's, and all he could think about was his shorts, not actually learning. So it's a very, very valid point you make, James, that stigma. Yeah, and even if he wasn't being teased, he felt it the whole time, that my uniform is different to the others. So yeah, very good point, thank you.
Not being able to go to, I know my mum, so I know as a kid, for me to go on an excursion, and we never had Smith family, but we were well off for our area, but for me to go on an excursion, the school would inform us, like, school might inform you a month ahead these days. We knew like the whole year of excursions so that our families could save for it, and my pocket money had to pay for half of my excursions. So if I wanted to go on an excursion, me and my mum went halves. A lot of these kids, they just didn't go on the excursion. They didn't get to go to the zoo. They didn't get to go to the museum. And that's a really big part of going to school. And the Smith family, the people that sponsor it covering that is actually, it's really, really important to the developmental stages of that child. So.
Thank you. It kind of took me back into a time when my parents bought me a uniform from a different store, and my pants and shorts was a different color.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, anyone else? Yes, up back there. Can you stand up, please? I missed where I was going. Yes.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Bobby. This is a question for Karen. Really informative slides you put up there. I feel like I'm doing a lot of those things that you already put up, the right ABN, the address, all those things, but we're really struggling with cash flow still. So is there a strategy or a system that can better streamline that cash flow? Because, yeah, I feel like we almost have to just constantly call up plan managers, constantly call up nominees and get those invoices paid.
How long are they actually holding them off for? So is it an extra couple of days, or is it weeks?
A long time, yeah. Over probably some are 30 days.
Yes, and our, take that long.
Yeah. And our thing is, we'll leave it because we've got a relationship with the participant, but then there's a certain point where it's like, okay, when do we pause services, Because
but as I say to people, if you don't have the money to pay your staff, you're no good to the participant. So you need to make sure that your business is robust and viable, otherwise you can't help anyone. So it's actually really important. There are some plan managers around, some of the larger ones, one in particular, we won't mention, that has some real issues with getting invoices through. I know as what I'd label myself as a boutique plan manager, so we deal a lot with people and support coordinators. I find I'm getting quite a few coming through from some of the large ones because people aren't getting paid, and you can't run a business if you don't have any money. Automating things like reminders and stuff like that help a little bit, but not a lot. You've got to pick the phone up and call.
Yeah.
For providers that have been around for a year or two, one of the things that's really, really important is that your accountant will tell you to spend money, but a CFO won't.
Yes, they will.
They will, but they'll forecast that a bit better because they understand the industry. So I love Karen, and I love what she does for the providers that I get her to help with around that stuff. But I meet a lot of providers where accountants say, oh, you need to spend money because it's tax time. But someone like Karen will come in and go, you need a cash flow for the future. So it's very much about setting yourself up financially as a business.
As a business. I always tell providers to invoice weekly, because if you don't get your invoices through, they might run out of money in their plan, and then it's really hard as a plan manager at the moment to get overspent plans paid. They're just saying no. So it's the consistency. And it's not fun to ring people and go, where's my money? I don't like doing it.
Yeah.
But you actually have to spend your time and do that and stay on their case to get them through. Otherwise, you're just not going to get paid.
Yeah. So we're dedicating a day a week now just to make phone calls. I think that's probably the best thing, but I thought that might be another strategy, but yeah, that makes sense.
No, look, the old school strategy is the one. Make the phone calls. The NDIS are holding up payments, which is why I asked the question about how long. So we find them where they used to come through overnight, they can take 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
You want a plan manager that's got a really good system. The one we use links directly to the NDIS, so if there's an approval on the participant, an email goes and says, please approve or reject, give us a reason for the rejection so we can come back to you and explain it. If you don't approve within 3 days, it automatically approves. So we'll chase you up if we pay you and find out we shouldn't have, but it automatically approves and then automatically goes through to the NDIS. We used to then get paid overnight, we pay it out every morning. Every day we raise payments to providers, because the quicker you get paid, the more services you offer the participant, the happier they are with my business, and we're all doing really well.
Yeah, we're all winning. Yeah, cool.
The NDIS are holding some of them up, so where it used to be a day, sometimes now it's 2 or 3. But we process and we make sure we put our invoices in every single day.
Yeah, awesome.
So your plan manager needs to work that way.
Yeah, can I ask one more? Great, I've got one more question. So I operate a youth mentoring program at 13 to 28-year-olds. We do a lot of camps and stuff like that. Before October 3rd, we'll it was going pretty well with our camps. We're charging STA 1 to 2 and 1 to 1. So with the changes now with October 3rd, so to be an STA provider, do you have to have your own facility, or because as mentioned before, you said, if you get an Airbnb or if you go to Geelong, how do you fit in the category of being an STA provider these days?
So the definition is grey. You don't have to have your own facility. Okay, I know many STA providers. I own a platform called Holiday Navigator, which is a STA advertising platform that also advertises Airbnbs at Fleet Festival, hotels at a Fleet Festival. So I delve in this space a fair bit. You don't have to have a dwelling. It's more around that one-to-one, and they don't like one-to-one, to tell you the truth, because is one-to-one capacity building all of the time, or is it helping someone? So it's really about understanding and explaining what that capacity is. You don't have to have your own dwelling. I know a lot of STA providers that, as long as they can explain the purpose of the STA and the capacity building, they do use Airbnbs in different spaces. I know one where it was a young couple, both had disabilities. It was a 1-to-2 ratio, and it was about that couple building relationships. So they took them away to a holiday destination and spent a week there for them to learn skills together. That wasn't done in a house. I also think that, to tell you the truth, most people that are doing it with a dwelling, a lot of those people are coming from a house and going into another house. So it's not about the dwelling, it's more about the support you're offering and how you're offering them. When you're working with young people, a lot of the problem is that, one, they talk about parental responsibility a fair bit with young people, and is it the NDIS's responsibility to do that capacity building? And is it respite or is it an FTA? Because an FTA in theory is from the participant's perspective growing capacity, where a respite is more from a parent's perspective of I need respite from my child that does my head in. So I think it's extremely great. I don't think you need a dwelling, but I think the way in which you bill is extremely important for STA and what you include and don't include, and having a solid understanding of what STA includes and offering that, but not always doing a complete breakdown of how you offer that does help.
And just a tip, don't call it a camp. Because camps are on the no list.
Camps, hotels,
Cruises, holiday accommodation. You can't call it a camp. Don't call it a holiday program either.
It's an STA in Malden, okay? That's what it is. It's an STA in the Grampians. Do you know what I mean? The camp part. So in theory, STA includes accommodation, food, 5 meals a day, and activities, okay? The reason I feel the NDIS has really pushed back on it is some providers have found the cheapest way of doing it and have made a massive amount of profit from STA. And I'm not saying that providers that offer camps are doing that, but when you say we're taking people camping, in theory, they're going, well, this provider would be paying $400, $500 a night for an STA, and this provider, shared between 3 people, and this provider's paying $12 a night for a campsite. Do you know what I mean? Or they're using a state park or something like that. So I think that's the reason the word camp has been pushed out. I don't think that camps can't happen, but also, how is a camp capacity building when you're building someone towards a life in their own home? So if it's behavioural capacity building, how come that can't be done somewhere else? So I think that's the reason they've removed. Camp just sounds like, hey, we're going four-wheel driving, we're going to go fishing, and then at the end of the day, you're going to roast marshmallows around a thing. It just automatically puts, let's admit, NDIS, no one's really educated in the NDIS around what actually happens in this industry. So don't use the word camp. Next question. Bobby, do you have a microphone in your hand and not paying any attention?
Sorry?
There's someone behind you with their hand up waving.
Sorry.
I believe they have
Yes.
brown hair that's a slight bob, but they're behind a tall guy with a brown shirt, so I can't see them.
Okay. Can I ask a question to you, Bobby? Oh, yes. Okay. Thanks. You spoke about networking, and what we are finding as new entrants in the business is that we need to network with a lot of support coordinators, and sometimes it's quite difficult to identify which support coordinators to network with. What advice would you give to new entrants in terms of how do we get in touch with support coordinators, how do we get their attention, which is the best way to approach them, and where do we find them? Thank you.
I'll say I will take that as the last question because we got to do raffles and the food's coming up. Talking to the support coordinators was much easier 8 years ago when I started. A lot of people would agree. We've exchanged this information with Karen and James from years ago and leading to today. Over the years, the way you can reach the support coordinators, the way you can build connections with the support coordinators and be in that group of 3 references that a support coordinator has to put out to an NDIS participant, it has changed. Currently, the way we do, the way I recommend to do it, is network among the group that is here today, specialize in a particular service, what you're doing, what you can do at best. If there is a nurse in the room, if there's a physiotherapist in the room, if there is an OT in the room or a speech therapist in the room, and they do have a participant or they get in contact with the participant and you've made a connection with them, now their participant does need a personal care assistant or the specialization what you do have a good chance of being referred through that network, through that physiotherapist, to that support coordinator, and from that support coordinator to the participant for you to get a possible reference and a business. I would like James to add on to it as well.
So I'd probably build a career on networking in the NDIS space. It's probably what I'm shit at everything else, to tell you the truth, but I'm very, very good at networking. It's all right, she knows this. Networking used to be, Bobby is a support coordinator or a hospital, and I'd send an email and go, I want to meet with you. And they're like, yeah, I'll meet with you. Cool. You'd meet with them, you'd have a coffee, and then you'd do some form of networking deal. Networking now involves Karen being up as well. Okay.
You're going to ask me to get down there.
Yeah, I am. I'll hold your hand if you want me to. It's all right, Murray. It's all right, okay? It's all right, don't stress. Okay? Networking is now, so obviously, Bobby is the support coordinator, okay, or the hospital. Here's the plan manager, and here's me as a support provider. Bobby as a support coordinator is going, oh fuck, I need to change providers, okay? There's some form of, these two already have a network, okay? And he's like, I don't know who's in that area anymore because I'm not touched them. So he contacts the plan manager, and the plan manager goes, oh, I know that this provider would be really, really good. Now you can replace Karen with an OT, you can replace Karen with a physiotherapist, you can replace Karen with a behavioural therapist, you can replace Karen with a garden and maintenance person, okay? You can replace Karen with lots of different people. Networking used to be one-on-one. Networking is now secondary networking. So the people you build networks with have to know enough information about you to share that information with their network, okay? And then also I believe in power networking. So if you're going to meet with someone, so say you've met someone tonight and you go, hey, let's catch up. Don't catch up one-on-one. Share just enough information tonight that they know what you do, and then go, hey, can you bring someone with you that would be beneficial to my business, and I'll bring someone that's going to be beneficial to your business. One, it's going to save time, and two, you've now got a four-way network, okay? So you have three people that know about you. The other thing is a lot of people tonight, when we get to the eating part, they're going to walk up and go, hi, I'm James, I offer core supports. That fucking means nothing, okay? That's what you're registered for, that's not what you do, okay? Walking up and going, hi, I'm James, I offer complex skill supports in the AOD space, and we specialise in working with women of sexual violence, sticks in their head. Karen, I might not speak to Karen for another 2 years, okay? But then Bobby goes to Karen and goes, oh, I've got this participant, this is happening to her, she's got some drug addiction, she's got some mental health, some intellectual disability. Do you know anyone who can do that? And Karen goes, oh, 2 years ago I met this dude, he's got a beard and always wears black shirts. That's the guy you need to go talk to, okay? So you really need to give up, normally I talk about giving up a part of your story, but never ever introduce yourself as what services you offer. Talk about who you offer services to, okay? So if you say, I'm a still provider in the Western Suburbs, the Western Suburbs is a big space. I'm a still provider that specialises in supports in Melton and Bacchus Marsh area, and we also have a day service. People go, okay, I can instantly geolocate where that person is. And that's the memory that the other people are going to keep of you. So yeah, that's how I approach. There's lots of ways of approaching networking. LinkedIn, guys, master LinkedIn.
I'll add to that, because you're right. You've got to remember how many people don't get support coordination. So the next stop, I can tell you, is a plan manager. So I often get asked, who can we see? We had a mum come in recently with a teenage kid. She had no idea she didn't have an idea on what a plan meant. And the person that does most of my invoicing within their plan management, her son's been through exactly the same thing, and she's gone, well, you need to go and see these people, and this is a psychologist for you, and this is this, because she already knew. You'll find providers will say, good providers will go, I've got this person, I can't help them, but I know somebody who can. Because it's actually not about how much we make out of it, it's about how much difference we make to them. And so long as you keep that in your mind, they'll come and you'll get them, but only work with the ones that you're good at. We don't do anything, when I say we do support coordination, we do very little of it. We work with independent support coordinators through their back office function. But we do stuff around money, and that's it. Because that's what we're good at. The rest of it, you guys are good at, and we're here to support you. So share it around like that.
When it comes to support coordinators, you also have to understand support coordinators are sick of getting phone calls from service providers, but support coordinators will lean on other support coordinators for advice. And so quite often what I see and what T&K sees, I've been there for 3 weeks, and every referral we've had has not been a support coordinator that we've worked with. It's been a support coordinator that has gone to their friend who's a support coordinator and gone, hey, I need support with this kind of person, and that support coordinator we've helped out, we've done a great job with their participant, and that support coordinator said to the new support coordinator, hey, contact these guys. So building your network is also very much about building what you're good at and proving that so that other people network for you, okay? If most people here are new business owners, in theory, so during the day when most networking happens, you're working, okay? You're on the floor, making money, doing the grind. You don't have time to be networking. So the best thing you can do is do the best service so other people network for you. Other people are your advocates, are your voice, okay? Because if you say, I do this really well, people go, but that person said they do it really well. But if Karen says, oh, James does that really well, instantly there's a trust that's built because it's come from an external source.
And trust me, let me add another title onto the list, is a disability support worker. If you see a disability support worker, do not despise the person just because the person is doing a job for another NDIS services provider or aged care services provider. That person is one-to-one support provider for any NDIS participant who's in need. That person knows better about that participant, if the participant is happy with the current support coordinator or not, a physiotherapist or any other health professional, if they're happy with that or not. If you make a good connection with the disability support workers, that's millions of them out there, who are wanting to either go on their own independent, who are looking after the participants one-to-one, and they can refer you to that participant into that network as well. So the possibilities are endless. Yes?
I agree.
Julie?
Yeah. I was just going to say, like what you said, the networking can help you as business owners to know who's in your area and things like that, but it also helps the community, your participants. So you might have a participant that's looking for a speech therapist and they can't find one for many reasons. Sometimes it's their waiting lists, which are lovely, but I always tell people to get... I know, right? But you might meet someone tonight and your participant, you can say, wow, I met this amazing speech therapist tonight, here's their card. Because there's so many families out there, you know, you've got to think too, you're looking after our children, so we're passing them over to you. And a lot of people are scared, a lot of people don't know who to call, who are these people. So if you are in the community sharing that with the participants as well, it's amazing. And that's what I do a lot of. That's why I love to get to know all of you guys, because I have an army of families that are always looking for good service providers, and I quite often give them your names and addresses.
Thank you. Can I ask you to give a one big hand to the guest speakers, the amount of information, and to yourself. Okay, I want someone to help me with the raffles. I have no idea. Where's the raffles jar?
Has everyone that wants to be a part of the raffle done the raffle? Yes, I know I want to be a part and I haven't done it yet. So
you haven't done it yet?
No.
Scan the QR.
That's a lot of work, guys.
Charles, tell him it's easy. Tell him it's easy. It's not a lot of work.
It's simple. It's QR code. Quick reference. Magnificent. Look at that. And once again, thank you for your support.